In order to understand what a Mobius strip is, this is a Mobius strip, you first need to know a few other things. One thing is that this is a normal strip, and this is the first thing that you need to get to a Mobius strip. When you draw a straight line down the middle of this strip that hasn't been turned into a Mobius strip yet, you have to flip it over to draw on both sides. But when you have a Mobius strip, you can draw one line all the way down, and it keeps going, and you end up meeting at the beginning where you started the line. So that tells you that this Mobius strip has only one side. In order to make a Mobius strip, you have to make one 180-degree rotation to one of the sides and tape the edges together. And this is a Mobius strip. It's straight on the bottom with one rotation on the top. Another cool thing about Mobius strips is what happens when you cut one strip down the center. And what you think would happen was that the strip turns into two separate Mobius strips. But what actually happens is pretty interesting. The edges stay together, so it's not two separate things. But it's not one Mobius strip either. It's one rotation, two rotations, instead of only one rotation in a normal Mobius strip. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you don't cut a Mobius strip down the center. And you have to make sure that you don't cut it down the center. So you cut it a third away from the edge. And you'd probably think that when you do this, it's not different than what happens when you cut a strip right down the middle. But when you do this, you have to cut twice because the 1/3 line isn't on both sides and the half is on both sides. So it gets pretty thin when you're cutting. But what you come out with is one Mobius strip interlocked with another strip with two rotations. This is a strip with no rotations. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you put two strips that have no rotations together and then cut them both down the center. So first you need to put them into a cross, and you tape both sides of the cross, and then you make a strip on one side going one way, and then another strip on the other side going the other way. So now you have a ring or a chain. So you have to cut down the center, but don't cut all the way because it'll be very difficult if you do. And then you cut the other ring down the center, not all the way. And on this last cut, you can cut all the way through one side. And then you can probably rip the two other sides, and you get a square. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you interlock two Mobius strips. So you have to start the same way as you did with the normal strips, and you have to rotate both sides the same way. So this side, I'm going to rotate counterclockwise, and I have to do the same to the other side. And now you have two interlocked Mobius strips. So the same as the normal strips, when you interlock them, you can't cut them all the way through or else it'll become really difficult to cut the other side. So you have to almost cut them all the way through. Then you cut the other side, and it looks really weird. But what you come out with is a heart, interlocked with another heart. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you put three strips together. First you do the same thing as you did with putting two strips together. And you make a cross, and you tape both edges together. And then you tape loops going opposite ways. Then you have to take another strip, and first you tape the strip, and then you tape the inside so that it doesn't come apart when you're cutting it. And then you can start cutting. And same as with the other strips, you have to wait, finish cutting every cut until the very end. So you almost finish cutting it, then you cut the center, and you almost finish cutting it. After you're almost finished, you can finish cutting it. And what you get is 2 rectangles that are separated from each other. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you put 3 Mobius strips together. And same as the normal strip, make the cross and tape both sides. And you have to also make sure that you rotate it the same way. So I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise, and then rotate the other side counterclockwise. And then you put another strip in to show you when the 3 strips are in. And you rotate it counterclockwise. And now you have 3 interlocked Mobius strips. So now you have to cut down the middle. And this one is very important that you don't finish cutting, because you mess up. You might accidentally cut something that you shouldn't. And now you cut the center. And you can finish cutting what you didn't finish before. And you get a very weird, tiny strip. Yeah. It's pretty weird. This side is 2 right angles. And you go down, get another right angle. And you could have a rectangle, but it doesn't finish. And then it makes a rotation, and then it looks very weird. So